Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Brothers-in-law. And on this channel here, we discuss police-involved incidents that occur around the country, and we give our analysis on the actions of the police officers to see if their actions are what a reasonable officer would do. We also look at the actions of the citizens to see if they followed our acronym of CALM, which stands for comply, answer questions, listen, and move on, where their actions have turned out differently. Now, you may agree or disagree with us, but by the end of the videos, it is our hope that you get a better understanding of what just took place. Those of you who are new to our channel, I am a former Virginia State Trooper for 7 years, and I'm also a retired Navy Chief Petty Officer. Mike.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Stacy, I see you on here. Goat, I saw you in here a little bit ago. I'm Mike Bradley. I'm a retired police officer of 26 years in Northern California, a city called Pleasanton. Before that, I'm a 6-year Army veteran. So we know a little bit of something about what we're talking about. So like Corey was saying, we just giving you some things, some info from police incidents, and give you our spin on it, see whether it's reasonable or not, and see what you have to say about it. Hey, Tone, I see you.
What's up, Tone?
Yeah. So thanks for joining us. We're gonna have a good discussion today about what a term that everybody's familiar with, and that's road raging. Right, Corey?
Yeah, well, so we had a video for you today, but due to technical difficulties on my end, and you guys all know how I always complain about our internet service we have here. Well, it really went south today, and I can't even get logged in. Or at least get online, I should say. So I'm using my phone. So if it seems like I'm all over the place and my phone is not staying focused, it was because I'm trying to juggle between all these buttons and stuff on here. So I'm asking for your forgiveness up front. So but like Mike said, we'll be talking about road rage, and I think that's an important topic to talk about. Like, just now more so than when I was a state police officer, I see a lot of aggressive driving on the road now, and I'm doing my speed limit. I always do 10 over the speed limit. Am I speeding? Yes, technically I am speeding. But I know I'm not gonna get stopped. No cop is gonna write you. Well, I ain't gonna say that, no cop. But the golden rule is 6% of whatever the speed limit is. So we usually typically write at the 12 mile per hour over the posted speed limit sign. Can that get you for 1 mile per over the speed limit? Yes. If the speed limit is 55, then that's what it is, 55. But to my point, what I'm saying is that as I'm driving and I may be doing 5 to 10 over the posted speed limit, everybody just flying past me like I'm not even there. Like, and I'm asking a question like that. When my boys out, they should be out here. Like, they're going honeydew spot right there. Somebody should be sitting there. And then people they are in the far left lane 1, and they're getting off at the next exit, and they cut all across the lanes just to get over. And that causes road rage, right? Because you cut me off. Now I'm pissed off because you almost hit me. Now I'm honking my horn at you. I'm flipping you off. I'm cursing you out. And so that's and a lot of these incidents, Mike, we've been saying here lately, some of them have turned deadly.
Yeah. You really got. When I was working, a lot of common reasons where you saw road rage is everybody know. You cut me off, or you following too close.
Right.
You tagging, you following too close behind me, something like that. Which is by the way, it's a common violation why traffic collisions happen too. Is people following too closely because they don't have enough time or distance to stop their car if the car in front of them suddenly stops. You know what I'm saying? So those are common complaints of road rage. But you know what I always say, don't get caught up into your emotions when you start driving if you get into a situation where another driver pisses you off because of their driving actions. Don't get caught up into that emotion, because I know you get mad right there at that moment. You know what I'm saying? And you just want to do something, or you want to follow that person, or you want to get close and pull up sides of that person and yell and scream at them. You know what I'm saying? Don't get caught up. It ain't worth it.
It's not.
You know what I'm
It's
saying?
because you get people, that will brake check you, right? Jam on their brakes real close, real quick to try to get you to run into the back of them. So you have to be mindful of these people, because the thing is, Mike, we just don't know people's mindsets now.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest problem, why you need to be cautious while you're out here going to and from work, or going to pick the kids up from school, or just every day out on the road doing your chores and stuff. And you don't know the mindset of that individual who's behind you, in front of you, to your left or to your right. You don't know their mindset, what's going through their head, that's going to cause them to act a certain way, right? And to be aggressive, because I'm always thinking, when I see people fly past me, 70, 80 miles an hour, I'm like, my God, where are you going in such a hurry? And it's always funny when they pass you flying like a bat out of hell, and you both get off at the same exit, stopped at the same light. I'm like, well, you idiot, you just burnt all that gas, and you still stuck at the same light as me. You know what I mean? And for what reason? I get it. Your kid's late. You got to get there to pick them up at the daycare, so you don't get charged the late fee or whatever the case may be. But we have to keep in mind, as citizens on the road, that everybody's got somewhere to go. And that's why we have laws, right? To make sure we got good order and discipline on highways and byways and on your city streets. Because if everybody just get out there and drive the way they want to, we'll never be able to get anywhere, because it'd be crashes and bodies laying everywhere. So the question, Mike, is how do we handle road rage?
Real good question. I mean, if you get caught, like I said, if you get caught up, just remember, number one, it ain't worth it. Number two, if it's a minor violation like unsafe lane change, or like there wasn't any collision, there was no contact made with the cars, or something simple like you ran a stop sign, I almost hit you because you ran a stop sign, something like that. Keep in mind, folks, those types of traffic violations are infractions, and the officer has to actually see them himself or herself before they can give somebody a ticket for an infraction. Okay. So it really does no good to call the police after the fact, unless you being followed or something like that. Then you're taking it to a whole nother level at that point. You know what I'm saying? But in general, if you have a driving violation that affected you some way on the road, absent an actual collision, okay, or again, absent someone trying to chase you down, or starting to elevate the situation into something else, okay, an officer really wouldn't be able to do much, because again, we can't take no action unless we saw the violation ourselves. So it does no good to say, hey, I saw this car the other day, he ran the stop sign, I was on this side, he was on that side, and the car ran the stop sign, I want you to give him a ticket. It doesn't work that way, because it's an infraction. We have to see it ourselves before we can do that. Okay.
So then, Mike, what should the citizen do? All right, you've been involved in something. This guy just cut you off and almost ran you off the road. Okay, you call in to the 911 dispatch center and voice the complaint. You actually get a license plate, and you get a car description, and you get a partial description of the driver. can you then follow up on that, or what is your protocol for that as a law enforcement?
You could follow up on, if you got enough information to make contact with the other driver, for the officer to make contact with the other driver, we could use that information. And for me, upon request, if you really want me to contact the other driver about the situation, I could do that. But keep in mind, that contact is merely upon request. I would tell the other driver that, and I would say, okay, you were reported as doing this driving action, whatever it may be. Okay. And this person requested I contact you and give you a warning. But it's really just me giving your side of the story. That person that I contact is going to have their side of the story too. And what you think they're going to say? They're going to say, oh, that person is lying. That's not quite how it happened. So it really doesn't do any good. Now, I'm talking about minor traffic violations. It really doesn't do any good after the fact for me to go contact the other person when I didn't see it. Now, if I saw it, that's a whole different ball game. Okay. But the big thing is, you definitely don't want to let your emotions get involved and start following the person. I would never recommend you follow someone based on a traffic violation.
Okay. Well, that's rule number one. Do not follow.
If somebody cuts you off, don't follow that person. What you gonna do? Follow him for what? You know what I'm saying? What you gonna do at the end result when that person does stop? You think you're gonna go up there and give them a piece of their mind, a piece of your mind?
Well, and see, that's the thing. That's a lot of people's natural instinct, I think, to want to give that individual a peace of mind. I know when I used to get road rage calls, and we would get them a lot. And you know, being a trooper really opened my eyes to a lot of things that go on that I never, you know, thought happen on the highways and on the interstates. You know, be just going, you know, to and from work when I was on active duty, but the amount of calls that we would get for road rage, you know, and you'll have the alleged victim who was cut off waiting where the incident took place, and then, you know, the suspect has gone, and so, you know, you didn't get to witness it. And so a lot of times it's like, if there was not enough for me to follow up on or to pursue that, then I would tell them, I was like, hey, you know, it is your right to go down to what we call the magistrate's office and issue a complaint, and file a complaint, or and have it that person subpoenaed to court. And if there was, and the other thing to that, while I'm skipping around here, because now my mind is racing now. If there's no damage, in other words, I can't see, you say, okay, you're partially off the road into the shoulder in the grass, and I don't see any damage to your vehicle. Well, there's really nothing for me to go off on, because like you just said, Mike, it's their word against the other person's word who's already gone, right? So, you know, and a lot of people have go cameras in their cars now. And so, you know, you take a look at that, you can see something was happening. You know, can I use that? Can I go off of that? I can, if I choose to. And a lot of times I have, especially if I can get a license plate off of it, using that individual, because they gave me permission to look at it and see what I can see on it to try to piece something together. And a lot of times I was able to and able to track that individual down. But again, if there's no damage, and if it's just you and him just flipping each other off and yelling at each other, I'm not going to write a summons on it. But however, there is a code section for road rage. If it can be identified as such, and you have the probable cause there to write that. There is a code here in Virginia for that.
There may be one out here in California, but I'm not aware of it. I'm not aware of it, at least not right now. I'd have to research that if there's a specific code. And I would be curious to know well, what are the elements of that? What are the elements of that crime? You know what I'm saying? What do you have to have for it to be road rage? And who has to do what for you to be the
Well,
suspect or the
a,
victim?
a lot of time, if I only now I like to say I only wrote that one time, and
Yeah, yeah.
the only reason why I was able to write that was because the subject was there on scene as well, and so
Okay, so you have both parties there at
I
least.
had both parties there, and I also had witnesses.
Big part. I was just
Big
getting
part,
ready to say that.
big part.
Uh,
So
if you
those
don't
would be
have
your
witnesses or you don't have any evidence to show that someone actually did a traffic violation, I think you spinning your wheels anyway. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, I mean, yeah, I got plenty of calls like that, and I would tell the citizens the same thing. But usually, when I get those calls, it's the citizen either followed the other person, or worse, they got out of their car at the stoplight and went up and approached the other car and threw something at them or something like that. At which case, folks, we me and Corey both say never get out of your car, never chase somebody down. I don't care what they did as far as a road rage. Now, if it's a hit and run, that's a little different. It would be helpful for you to follow them enough to at least get a license plate and description of the car. But I wouldn't encourage you to get in some pursuit with the other person as a civilian. You can get on the phone,
man.
call the police, just had a hit and
Yeah,
run happen here. We traveling in this direction on this road. Maybe an officer can intercept and get to that and stop that vehicle. Had that done before too. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, done that
A
plenty
hit
of
and
times.
run where contact is made is a whole lot different than what we're talking about here, though. You know what I'm saying?
And a lot of times, our dispatchers will tell you not to follow. We recommend that you did not follow that individual. But however, if you chose to do that and put yourself in that type of situation, we always say stay well enough far back that one, they don't know that you're following them. And then because if they know you're following them, then guess what they're gonna do? They're gonna speed up. And now both of you are driving down the road like a bat out of hell, playing cat and mouse. And that's not good, right? Because you two aren't the only ones on the road. You got hundreds of thousands of people traveling, to and from, and you're just going to create a mess that it's going to be hard for you to get out of. So do not follow them. If you choose to, I always say do it at a safe distance. Because again, like I said a few minutes ago, we don't know that individual's mindset. Uh, and you don't want to put yourself in these type of situations because if that individual has a gun and you're following them and you get to that stop sign or that stoplight, or you pull into that shopping center, like in that video that we were going to do tonight, you don't know. And the guy gets out the car and he goes over and punches the other guy in the face. Uh, you, you, you don't want to put yourself in that type of situation. So, road rage, we see it every day, and we've all have slammed on our horns and said a few words to that person that just cut you off. And, it happens every day. And I'll be lying to you, Mike, if I said I didn't do that, but for me, it's like, I want to pull you over. That's what I want to pull you over and give you a ticket. And so that's what I'm like, oh, you're just so lucky I'm not a cop anymore because I would get you. But don't try to take matters into your own hands. If you are involved in something like that, especially like a hit and run, and I think that's a great example what you said, Mike. The hit and run, you want as much follow that individual at a safe distance if you chose to do so. But like I said, we don't recommend that. Get as much information as you can, especially the make and model and the color of the car. If there is damage to it, where on that vehicle is that damage? Because when we do that, that gives me, I can run the tag, I can get an address, and guess what I'm gonna do? I'm going straight to that house. And before I knock on that door, I'm gonna look at that vehicle and see if it was involved in some type of a collision. So road rage is it's it's a hot topic, and we see
Yeah,
it every
yeah.
day.
Just people get caught up all the time. People are dangerous today. You have to assume that. Put it this way: when you are following somebody, or if you choose to do so, officers, when we get into a pursuit with people, we have to be able to recognize when it's time to cancel that pursuit and not chase someone. Okay. Now, the average citizen running off of emotion and anger, okay, may not have that whereabout to know, that what am I saying? That frame of mind to understand when they should stop following someone. You know what I'm saying? They might have tunnel vision and get like TV, and I got to keep going until this guy stops or till the cops catch up to me. You know what I'm saying? Don't do that. I don't recommend you do that at all. And
No,
also, we used to get a lot of complaints about people throwing stuff at the other
oh,
vehicle.
for throwing missiles, yeah.
Yeah, throwing or he threw a cup of soda or something at the car. That is actually illegal, folks. You can't throw something at a moving vehicle, okay? Especially if you cause damage because of what you threw.
I'm gonna
Okay.
tell you here, that's a felony.
Yeah, you can't do that. Can't do that.
You can't you throwing. They call it throwing missile, or projectile. Um, I've worked shootings on the internet on the interstate that because of road rage, the guy's car was hit twice with bullets, and because guy he thought he was doing right, he wasn't speeding or anything, and he was just traveling along, and the guy actually cut him off, and the guy, somebody he said leaned out the window and shot back at him and struck his vehicle a couple times. All this because road rage, right? Uh, Again, that was one of the ones that you can't follow up on because he couldn't get a make a model or tag off the vehicle. But it's we have to do better and not just have common respect for our fellow citizens out here on the road, and not drive like we're in the Indy 500.
Yeah. Now, if you happen to be on the receiving end of road rage, the most important things, again, and we can't say this enough, the most important thing you could do is definitely stay in your car. Like if you're in a position where you can't go anywhere or something, and the other person approaches your vehicle because they angry at whatever they think you did or whatever vehicle violation you did, stay in your car, lock your door, keep your windows rolled up. I wouldn't encourage you to even talk to the other person because clearly they're angry. They're approaching your car. So you have no idea what this person is getting ready to do. You don't know if they're going to damage your car. You don't know if they're going to try to hit you or something like that. Pull over to a safe place or wherever you are, roll your windows up, lock your car doors, and get on the phone and call the police. Tell them where you are. Give them a description of the other car, the other person, okay? And we can come out and make sure everything is okay. Okay. Hopefully contact both parties involved when we get there. So definitely do that if you are on the receiving end of road rage. Okay. Hey, everybody got cell phones nowadays. Great idea. Whip that cell phone out, start recording that other person. Okay. Nothing wrong with that either. You're in the safety of your car with your doors locked and your windows rolled up. So start recording what that person does while you on the phone to the police. You know what I'm saying? It ain't worth it. Never get out of your car. Never go up to the other person and say that they did this or they did that because they're most likely going to have a different outlook on it than you do.
Okay. Yeah, and again, like you said, Mike, it's that mindset. We don't know what that person's mindset is. You don't know if they have a weapon, right? And now, look, just you thought it was just going to be you run to the store and grabbing some milk and coming back home, and now here you're in a life and death situation here because you want to have a few words with somebody who cut you off.
Right.
Now, if you're the aggressor and you're that one that has that mighty heavy foot that can't and won't obey the speed limit, well, hey, you need that road rage ticket because you need to calm your hind parts down and stop driving like a bat out of hell. Believe you me, if you late, guess what? You're still late. Driving, 150 mile an hour down the road ain't gonna help your situation none. Your supervisor still gonna put you on court because you're late, right? So just have some common decency, man. I mean, the world is crazy enough. And when we get out on these roads, that vehicle is a weapon. Uh, the amount of carnage, Mike, that you and I have seen over the years from working multiple vehicle crashes. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
a lot of people think that's going to happen because they're in a big SUV or, you got some type of, modified stock car. They're driving on the road and thinking they're invincible when they're inside these vehicles. Folks, I'm here to tell you, you're not safe inside these vehicles when you're traveling at a high rate of speed and you just, hydroplane because the roads are wet and you spin off and you hit somebody and you're next thing you know, you're doing, 6 flips down the road. And if you're not wearing your seatbelt, guess what? Somebody's getting ejected.
Yeah,
And,
it's another thing. Definitely, definitely. Traffic, big part of police enforcement. Um, collisions, a lot of stuff happen on the roadway, and people need to understand that to control their emotions. And number one, not try to contact the other person if your emotions are through the roof. Now, if you get into a crash, no big deal. Okay, pull over to the side of the road. Okay, exchange your insurance information, your contact information. Go on about your business and call your insurance companies and report it. You don't always have to call the police when you get into a basic collision either. Okay. Matter of fact, if collision happened on private property out here in California, if it happened on private property and there's no injuries, okay, we won't take a report. That's you can get the other person's information and report it to your insurance companies. Okay, that's who does your report right there. That's on private property with no injuries where someone doesn't need an ambulance or doesn't need to go to the hospital or something like that. Okay. Another misconception, Corey, that I used to always hear is people think that when you get into a vehicle collision, you're just supposed to stop and stay in the road where you collided. You don't have to move and clear the roadway. That's false, folks. You should move over and clear the roadway as soon as you can, assuming your vehicle can still run. That is,
and if you can do it safely.
And safely. Okay.
If you can
Move
do it
over,
safely.
clear that roadway, clear that lane. We want when police officers get there, we want to talk to you on the side of the road, not in the middle of the road. Now that's for minor traffic violations, property damage only, where both
And
of
no injuries.
right, and no injuries, where
And
both
no
of the
injuries.
people can safely pull over out of the lane and move out of the side road. You don't have to just stay where you actually collided. Just move out of the road. Obviously, remember where in the location of the road where you had the collision. Okay.
Well, and that's a good point, Mike. Because don't go off the main road or don't go off the exit ramp if you're on the interstate. You want to stay within that vicinity because me as the officer, I go to court if I'm charging somebody in this, I had to be able to articulate where on the interstate this crash took place. So
right.
it's very important that you stay within. I always say within sight of it. If you leave the interstate and try to, then I can't. I won't charge anybody because I can't say where it happened. Because if there's skid marks, I have to be able to articulate there were skid marks or Yarway marks on the road. If there was debris somewhere, I had to be able to say I did see debris. If I had to take pictures, um, I had to be able to take pictures of where it would happen at, road signs, so I can better describe, paint a picture to the judge of where this crash took place. So it's very important to stay there. Now, again, if you're involved in road rage, when I say welcome again, hey, Jesus love you, welcome. Everybody, again, we're talking about road rage. There's a big thing going on now. A lot of incidents have been popping up in media now of people be getting shot or in serious car accidents in the event of being part of a road rage incident. So that's what we're talking about this evening. I apologize again. Reason why we didn't have a video tonight is my lovely internet. Is not operating, so I had to do it from my phone. So I apologize all the shaking and moving around on my part. But road rage, what do you guys think about that? Do you think it's a real bad problem? What are you seeing there driving on the highways and byways? We'd love to hear y'all's comments and hear some of your stories of what has happened to you while you're out there on the road. But to Mike's point again, where you are on that road or on that interstate, just stay where you are. If you can get to the shoulder safely, then move your vehicles to the shoulder. If not, stay inside your vehicle until the police get there, and then they will move you to a safe spot.
Right. We definitely don't want you outside your vehicle walking all in the middle of the roadway, because then we'd be taking a report not only of the traffic collision you were involved in, but now you got hit by a car or something like that. So we definitely don't encourage you to be out and about walking all in the roadway unsafe like. Okay, remember that. Have your information ready too. Your license, registration, and insurance out here in California. License, insurance, registration. Have those documents ready, because that's what I'm gonna ask for as soon as I come up. Assuming I'm doing a report or if I'm facilitating what we call an info exchange, which means you and the other driver are exchanging your information so that you can report it to your insurance company. Okay. Police don't always need to take a traffic report, even if it happened on the roadway. Okay. Assuming we're talking about property damage only, no physical injuries. Out here in California, you don't have to take a report like that. Okay.
Right. And for us, Mike, and this isn't you check with your local police and find these things out. For us to take a crash report, it had to be over $1,500 worth of damage. Now, that was at the eyes of the officer, what they determined to be $1,500 worth of damage. Now, on surface, it could be just a fender bender and a busted tail light, but there could be under damage, right? We don't get paid all that. What I look at and see is that $1,500 worth of damage. No, but you go to your insurance and it is, but that's okay, because I'm on the information sheet, like Mike was talking about. I'm going to have the incident number on there, so that will help you when you go to your insurance company and say, "Hey, was a police report filed?" And you'll say no, but I have an incident number, and that incident number just verifies that you did contact the police and somebody did come out there and put eyes on this, but they just didn't write a crash report.
Right. Right.
So that's just some of the information that would be on that exchange of information when you involved in a crash. So just keep that in mind wherever you are across the United States. What that officer determines to be X amount of dollars of damage. Now, if you say it's more than that yourself, don't get into argument with the police officer on the side of the road about, well, that's more than $1,500. You don't know what you're doing. Don't do that. Don't do it. If you got insurance, they're gonna get it fixed. And if it's not your fault, what are you worried about for the other insurance? Yeah, you gotta pay your deductible. All right, that sucks. But you're gonna get your car fixed. and you had that exchange of information, you had that incident number on there. The police came out, just didn't do a report. All right, it's not the end of the world. It's not gonna say that you ain't gonna get your car fixed.
Oh, and one other thing I want to bring up, because I know we said just not too long ago, is traffic infractions. Officers can't write a ticket unless they actually viewed it themselves. The only exception to that out in here in California is if the officer's been to basic traffic investigation school and he responds to a crash. During his investigation, he determined that person A ran the stop sign or person B was following too closely or something like that. He can write you a ticket as part of that traffic investigation. Okay. I've done that plenty of times too. I don't know if that's is that like that Virginia Court? Can you guys write a ticket for a violation after you've done the traffic investigation?
Oh yeah. In fact, we had supervisors that if you ever worked a crash, they always believe that somebody ought to get a ticket.
Yeah, I had something like that too.
If somebody was getting a ticket, if you didn't write one, it better be what, like you said, a non-reportable crash.
Right.
If you didn't write one, even if it wasn't reportable, I would still write somebody a ticket, especially if it was a following too close. It's a prepayable offense. You can come to court. And a lot of times, listen, and here's another good point. Here's another good nugget. Why don't argue with police officers? Because sometimes if I wrote a following too close ticket, and that individual was polite and cooperative with me the whole time, and they were very apologetic, and they admitted to that they were, yeah, I was following too close to him, trooper. It's my fault. I write the ticket. I say, hey man, show up to court. We'll take care of it. And we'll get on the court and talk to the judge. The judge, hey, they apologetic. They admitted to it. I make a motion, Your Honor, to go ahead and have this dismissed. The insurance company's already taking care of it. And they would say to the citizen, you okay with that? And the citizen would say, yes, Your Honor, I'm fine with that. And okay, dismiss. So it behooves you not to argue with the officers. I would go if you were polite and cooperating in a crash, and I seen that you were very apologetic for what happened, and you trooper. I mean, and you were. I seen it in your heart that you were very sorry for what you did. Yeah, it was your fault. I'm giving you the ticket, but I would tell you just show up to court and we'll take care of it. And when I told you that, you could take it to the bank that it was going to get dismissed, and we let the insurance companies handle it. So it pays.
Yeah, it does. Tone makes a comment. He says, "What about bicyclists? They will run the stop signs, red lights." Absolutely, Tone. I know exactly what you're talking about. Bicyclists, they have to follow the same rules as cars. So you can get a red light violation if you ran a light as a bicyclist. You can get a stop sign ticket for running a stop sign if you on a bicycle. There are a lot of laws with bicyclists that exist on the books that I think a lot of bicyclists don't know themselves. They don't. And yeah, Tone, I know exactly what you're talking about. There are a lot of cities out here where bicyclists act like they own the streets. You know what I'm saying? When I was working as a patrol officer, I think statistically at one point, most of the traffic collisions we had involving bicyclists, 90% of the time, the bicyclist was at fault. You know what I'm saying? So I think a lot of bicyclists think that they are the same as a pedestrian or they have the same rights as a pedestrian. And that's not the case. If you on that bike and you riding that bike, you are a vehicle. So you got to stop at stop signs, red lights, all of that stuff. You can get you can be arrested for driving under the influence on a bicycle. Okay. If you're intoxicated, you get arrested for that. That's a DUI on a bicycle. Okay. At night, we didn't got off into a whole nother thing, but hey, at nighttime, you got to have a light on the bike at nighttime. a real light on the front
And
of
you
your bicycle, and at
reflector.
minimum, a red reflector in the back of your bicycle. You got to have that at night. If you are a little rusty, you might have to brush me up on that log, Corey. But I believe it's 16. If you are under 16, you have to have a bicycle helmet if you're riding on the road.
Correct.
Or no, I'm sorry. I believe it's 18. If you're under 18, if you're a
I think
minor,
16 here.
is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think out here in California, it's 18. It was at one point, and I think it still might be. But check your local laws for that, because it is a requirement for you to have a bicycle helmet on the street unless you're an adult. Okay.
Yeah. So Goat says or a horse. That is true. That is true. That is
That's
true.
a good point. That's a good
Yeah.
point.
Out here in the country, there's some roads out here where you can ride your horse on the city road. So yeah, you can't
Okay.
be drunk. You get a DUI on a horse, and I believe it's some other things. I was in the city, so I didn't really deal with that too much. But I know it's a code section for it. You can't do certain things. So if you're operating anything on the highways or byways, mopeds, bicycles, horses, uh, what do you call the horses with the buggy carriages, like the Amish people? Everything's got to be a certain way. So try to swing it back over into the road rage. Now we'll get off on another tangent.
We got off on the horses, y'all. How we do
Yeah,
that?
yeah. Go said it happened to one of his cousins. What did he do? Get a DUI? Go? He got a DUI. I'm sorry, man. I'll be laughing. But goat from Arkansas, so that's a whole different world down there, or out there, I should say. So,
The
uh,
good point, Tone, though, about that bicycles. A lot of people don't realize that. Bicycles can do stuff that make you have road rage too. You know what I'm saying? They can run that. I can't tell you how many times I've seen a bicycle run right past a stop sign or something like it wasn't even there. You know what I'm saying?
oh
Almost,
yeah,
and then they get hit by a car and blame the car uh, because they feel that they have some kind of right of way. That's just not the case. That's not the case,
yeah,
brother.
yeah. But you get back to the road rage and everything. I mean, the bicyclists, they're gonna flip you off because they feel like they have the right of way in these type of situations. We just had to have common courtesy and common respect for one another. Um, just leave an appropriate time to get to work or get to your appointments or wherever you need to go. Then we don't have to worry about a road rage. But we know everybody ain't gonna do that. But
No,
I mean that's what we just got to have common respect for one another out here on the highways and byways and be safe.
yeah,
Um,
that's it. That's it. And don't take matters into your own hands. Don't be following people unnecessarily. Don't be getting out of your car and running up on folks because you're mad about them cutting you off. Don't do that stuff, folks. Because you can turn a simple traffic violation into something way more than that. A
way more.
battery, an assault, vandalism. Those are the kinds of crimes that or worse, that can happen from you feeling in your emotions because somebody was following you too closely or somebody cut you off. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
Uh you just can't do it, just can't do it.
yeah. You can't do it. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap this one up tonight. Uh, we hope you enjoyed this topic. Again, like I said, I think this was one of the ones that probably need to be talked about. Road rage and why it happens and what happens if you're involved in it. So let us know in the comments below if you enjoyed this type of content, and if you'd like to hear more content like this, give us a thumbs up in the comment section below. Again, we thank you all for joining us tonight. Uh, if you haven't made your way over to our shop yet or store to get you a t-shirt, please head on over and do so. I'm gonna put the link up here as soon as I can find it in this. Uh, there we go. Uh, Head on over to the merch shop, Brothas-in-law .myspreadshop.com, and get you a t-shirt and help support the Brothas-in-law. Everything that we get goes to the channel and help to spread our word out and the message out of staying calm, teaching people how to interact with law enforcement. So with that being said, Mike, got final words?
No, thanks for joining us, Brenda. Jesus love you. Goat, I see you on here. Tone, always a faithful one right there. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you guys tuning in.
Yep.
And we'll see you next time.
We'll be back next week. If my internet is working right, I'll be on the computer. If not, I'll be back on the phone. So we love you guys. We thank you so much for joining us and supporting us. Until next week, everyone, God bless. We love you and good night.
Peace.